In 1978, John Madden stunned the world of professional football. At just 42 years old, he walked away from coaching, the pinnacle of a career most could only dream of. For decades, whispers suggested his health had forced the decision. But recently unearthed audio tells a far more incendiary story. In a private meeting with league officials, Madden spoke words so damning that the powers that be moved to remove him immediately. His revelations touched on players' safety, corruption, and the influence of money, truths that, if exposed, could have shaken the NFL to its very foundation. For 45 years, the league buried the story. Now, the real account is finally emerging. John Madden's journey began quietly, almost imperceptibly, like a trail not yet visible to the world. He was born on April 10, 1936, in Austin, Minnesota, into a devout Catholic family rooted in routine and labor. His father, Earl, repaired cars for a living. His mother, Mary, cared for their home. When John was 5, the family moved west to Daly City, just south of San Francisco, hoping for new opportunities and a brighter horizon. The childhood was simple, yet it instilled in him an enduring belief that hard work, more than words, defined a person. At Jefferson High School, football became the first force to pull him forward. Madden was not the fastest, nor the most naturally gifted, but he refused to surrender on any play. Coaches took notice of a resilience that could not be taught. That determination carried him into college. His path took him from Oregon to San Mateo Junior College, then to Grays Harbor, and ultimately to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. At Cal Poly, he played both sides of the line, earning a starting position on the left. Every drill, every play, he pushed himself relentlessly. But in October 1958, during his senior season, fate struck. A collarbone injury with 4 games remaining threatened to derail everything. Even so, Madden pressed on. By January 1959, he stood on the field for the All-American Bowl, earning recognition from Sporting News. These experiences, pain intertwined with acknowledgement, taught him empathy, a lesson that would later define his coaching. At Cal Poly, his curiosity matched his grit. A research project on how weight training could improve speed and stride revealed a mind always probing the game's deeper mechanics. Madden left college without headline-grabbing records, but with qualities far more enduring: resilience, patience, and leadership. Destiny arrived in the form of the 1958 NFL Draft. The Philadelphia Eagles selected him in the 21st round. It was a late pick, but a dream nonetheless. Madden arrived at training camp in August 1959, ready to fight. Yet one scrimmage changed everything. A torn knee ligament ended his playing career before it began. He would never play an NFL game. For many, such a setback would have marked the end. For Madden, it quietly opened another path. During rehabilitation, he spent countless hours in the film room with Norm Van Brocklin, one of football's keenest minds. There, Madden learned to dissect the game, to see patterns in motion, to understand football from the inside out. What seemed like a personal tragedy gradually revealed itself as a new purpose. By 1960, he began coaching at Allen Hancock College, a modest junior college where football was driven by passion rather than prestige. Starting as an assistant, he became head coach by 1962. His first season ended 4-5, but in 1963, everything aligned. The team went 8-1, undefeated in conference play, finishing 9th among junior colleges. Madden's method was simple yet meticulous: long hours of film study, clear instruction, and belief in players overlooked by others. Those athletes finally felt seen, and that sense of recognition will become a hallmark of Madden's approach. In 1964, he moved to San Diego State under Don Coryell, a future NFL legend. Madden became defensive coordinator for a squad without the advantage of blue-chip recruits. Between 1964 and 1966, the Aztecs went 26-4, emerging as one of the nation's top small college programs. His defenses were clever, his film sessions relentless. Players remembered that Madden made every snap count, demanding not just effort but comprehension. Working alongside Coryell and a young Joe Gibbs, he learned that preparation and creativity could surpass raw talent. Football, he realized, was a teacher's game. This philosophy would follow him everywhere. Madden simplified complexity, drilled fundamentals, and ensured every player understood not only their role but the roles around them. The trust and accountability he built were exceptional, and would later translate into the clarity fans loved in his broadcasts and even in the Madden NFL video game. Then, at only 32 years old, the NFL made a decision that would shock the league. In February 1969, John Madden was appointed head coach of the Oakland Raiders. A young man with just 2 years as a linebacker coach and a Super Bowl II appearance under his belt now commanded a team of talent, ego, and chaos. The Raiders, infamous for their ferocity, lived on the edge. Madden did not attempt to control them with strict rules. Instead, he offered respect. Play hard on Sundays, he told them, and live your lives as you see fit. The result was unexpected. His Raiders became one of the least penalized teams in the league across 5 of his 10 seasons. Beneath the rough exterior lay discipline, preparation, and loyalty. Yet the playoffs remained an unforgiving crucible. From 1969 onward, the Raiders dominated the regular season, winning 7 AFC West titles and reaching the playoffs 8 times. But heartbreak struck repeatedly. The AFL Championship loss to the Chiefs in his first year, the immaculate reception against the Steelers in 1972, the Dolphins in 1973, and 5 more AFC Championship defeats over the years. For years, critics labeled him the coach who could not win the big one. It was a burden Madden carried quietly, even as his teams racked up victories with relentless consistency. Yet in 1976, that long shadow finally lifted. The Raiders overcame the Steelers in the AFC Championship, then surged into Super Bowl XI, defeating the Minnesota Vikings with authority. That triumph erased years of doubt, silenced the skeptics, and cemented Madden's place among football's elite. Inside the Raiders organization, however, life remained a delicate balancing act. Owner Al Davis wielded immense power, deeply involved in every football decision. Madden's role required not just leadership, but diplomacy. He had to persuade Davis, earn his trust, and safeguard the loyalty of his players all at once. "I had to sell my ideas to Al," Madden once reflected, a statement that underscored the tightrope he walked. Managing both sides demanded subtlety and conviction, and it shaped the legend of the 1970s Raiders. Over a decade, from 1969 to 1978, Madden transformed Oakland into something larger than the game itself. Not once did his team endure a losing season. Across 10 campaigns, they amassed 103 wins, 32 losses, and 7 ties, a .759 winning percentage, the highest of any modern NFL coach with at least 100 games. Every season seemed to build upon the last, a rising tide that refused to recede. The early years were a steady climb. In 1969, the Raiders finished 12-1-1, only to fall to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFL Championship. Each subsequent season saw them maintain 8 wins or more, overcoming adversity and finishing strong. By 1976, they achieved 13-1, the best record in the AFC, establishing themselves as the team to beat. Amid an era dominated by the Steelers, Cowboys, and Dolphins, Oakland remained the relentless, looming threat. Madden's consistency was no accident. His practices, deceptively simple on the surface, moved with extraordinary intensity. Understanding that fatigue cost games late in the season, he kept sessions sharp and short, sometimes lasting only 45 minutes. Yet in that time, the pace was relentless. Players barely had a moment to catch their breath. Plays were drilled until they became instinct, and repetition forged precision. At the same time, he trusted his team, fostering a locker room that was disciplined yet relaxed. His instructions were straightforward: show up on time, pay attention, and give everything when it mattered most. That clarity became the foundation of a team both formidable and cohesive. The Raiders' defense mirrored that philosophy, physical to the point of chaos. They tested boundaries, flirted with penalties, and thrived on intimidation. Quarterbacks felt pressure before the first snap, receivers braced for punishing hits, and referees often struggled to contain the on-field intensity. But the results spoke for themselves. Forced turnovers, sacks, and critical plays in key moments built victories. In 1976, that ferocious defense helped carry the team to a 13-1 record in the Super Bowl, proving that controlled aggression could create opportunity. The repeated near misses of previous seasons had cultivated talk of a curse. From 1969 to 1975, the Raiders fell short in 5 AFL or AFC championship games: the Chiefs, the Colts, the Dolphins, and the Steelers twice. Each loss seemed to reinforce a narrative that no matter how strong Oakland looked during the regular season, the final hurdle remained insurmountable. Fans whispered about it. Reporters amplified it. Year after year, heartbreak grew heavier, and the legend of the curse followed them relentlessly. Then came 1976. Everything aligned. After a single loss to the Patriots, the Raiders dominated the regular season and faced the Steelers in the AFC Championship. A 24-7 victory over the team that had repeatedly knocked them out, including the infamous Immaculate Reception in 1972, felt like poetic justice. On January 9, 1977, at the Rose Bowl, the Raiders crushed the Vikings 32-14 to claim their first Lombardi trophy. Ken Stabler passed for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Fred Biletnikoff's 5 catches for 78 yards earned him Super Bowl MVP honors. After years of disappointment, the victory was the release of a decade-long tension, a triumph Madden had meticulously built from the ground up. Madden's coaching style was a perfect match for the Raiders' identity, tough, audacious, and brimming with swagger. He demanded excellence, but allowed his players to express themselves fully. Long hair, loud personalities, and wild off-field behavior were tolerated. Effort and focus on the field were not. Jumping offside, however, could test his patience like nothing else. Bad tackling made him furious. But if a player gave everything, every inch on Sunday, Madden was fully behind him. That energy propelled the Raiders to an unprecedented streak. 7 straight AFC Championship games from 1973 to 1977, a feat unmatched in NFL history. The 1976 title finally etched Madden permanently into football lore. Yet behind a glory, his body was quietly rebelling. Years of stress, relentless seasons, and pressure had taken a toll. Madden battled bleeding ulcers that worsened with each playoff loss. By 1977, his health was failing. Endless travel, sleepless nights, constant tension, and poor eating habits pushed him toward the brink. Chronic joint issues required surgery, and the ulcers offered no respite. For all the triumphs on the field, the pain off it remained unseen. By 1978, the pressure reached its peak. The Raiders finished 9-7, missing the playoffs for the first time since 1971. When the season ended, Madden shocked the league. At just 42, he walked away from coaching. He spoke openly about burnout, ulcers, and the desire to spend more time with his family. "I didn't know what came next," he admitted. "I just wanted to finally do what my wife and kids wanted for a change." A career defined by a .759 winning percentage and a decade of unparalleled success had come to an abrupt end, unexpected, even for those who knew him best. But a new chapter began almost immediately. In 1979, CBS brought him into broadcasting. At a time when most analysts sounded stiff and formal, Madden's presence felt alive, infectious. He broke down plays as if still on the sidelines, translating complex football into a language fans could instantly understand. Within 2 years, CBS recognized the rare talent in Madden. By 1981, he was on their top broadcast team, paired with Pat Summerall. Together, they formed a partnership that lasted 21 years, covering more than 300 games, including 8 Super Bowls. Fans came to say their names as one, a testament to the chemistry that reshaped football on television. In 1982, Madden introduced a revolutionary tool, the telestrator. With quick circles, arrows, and scribbles, he explained plays in real time, making the game accessible and entertaining. His enthusiasm was infectious, and the device soon appeared across media, from trial coverage to comedy sketches, even Saturday Night Live. Madden's larger-than-life personality extended beyond commentary. His playful exclamations, boom, wham, dink, entered everyday speech, embraced by kids and adults alike. Advertisers quickly recognized his appeal, and he became a cultural presence through commercials, cartoons, and talk shows. Over his broadcasting career, Madden won 16 Emmy Awards, called over 500 NFL games, and uniquely worked for CBS, Fox, ABC, and NBC. His Lifetime Achievement Emmy in 2010 confirmed what fans already knew. Madden had transformed the way football was watched and understood. Yet even at the height of his broadcasting success, one fear loomed over his life: flying. In November 1979, a flight from Tampa became the catalyst. As the cabin door closed, something inside him snapped. The air felt suffocating, the walls closing in. He later said he feared standing and pulling the emergency door just to escape. That day, he made a choice to stay calm, but it was the last flight he ever took. The fear was not about turbulence or heights. It was the terror of being trapped, compounded by memories of the 1960 California plane crash that had claimed 16 players, a manager, and a booster. After Tampa, Madden vowed no more planes, ever. To continue his coast-to-coast broadcasting career without flying, Madden needed mobility. In 1987, the solution arrived, the Madden Cruiser. Initially offered by Greyhound as part of a promotional deal, the bus evolved into a rolling home, complete with a queen bed, advanced technology, and TVs for film study. It became a traveling sanctuary, covering nearly 80,000 miles each year, ferrying Madden from stadium to stadium. Fans tracked its journey, photographing it in parking lots, a tangible symbol of his presence. Long after retirement, the original cruiser found a home in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, carrying the story of a man who refused to let fear stop his work. By the early 1990s, Madden's influence expanded even further. When CBS lost NFC rights in 1993, networks vied for his talent. Fox made a bold move, securing him for around $8 million a year, the highest-paid sports announcer in the country, and helped establish Fox as a major NFL network. NBC even proposed a luxury train to bypass flying, but Madden chose Fox, reshaping the balance of power in sports broadcasting. Meanwhile, Madden's journey into gaming began in 1984, when Trip Hawkins of Electronic Arts approached him with a vision for a football video game. Madden agreed, but only if it mirrored real football, 22 players on the field, real plays, real strategy. The limitations of early computers meant development took 4 years, but in June 1988, John Madden Football launched. The result was groundbreaking, an authentic, strategic representation of the game, where every player, every movement, and every play reflected the sport Madden had devoted his life to. From the very first Madden NFL game, the authenticity of the sport shone through. Players and fans alike recognized the difference immediately. At the heart of it was realism. Every formation, every rule, every nuance of the game was captured. Robin Antoniuk, one of the main developers, worked hand-in-hand with Madden to ensure the game mirrored real football. The graphics were simple, but the depth was extraordinary. Audibles could be called. Injuries affected play. Weather changed the strategy. By 1990, word of mouth had turned the game into a phenomenon. EA reported that more than 2 million copies sold in a single week, a remarkable achievement for what had started as a modest launch. The real explosion arrived with the Sega Genesis version. EA partnered with Park Place Productions, and suddenly the game felt faster, more alive. Madden on Genesis sold 400,000 copies when only 75,000 were expected, helping drive console sales and cementing the franchise as a yearly event. From 1992 to 1994, it held the #1 spot on the Mega Drive charts, transforming Madden into one of the most important sports games ever made. Madden's involvement went far beyond lending his name. He provided his 1980 Raiders playbook, walked the development team through rules and strategy, and taught them how to translate football for fans inside the game. Studies later reveal that people who played Madden understood passing routes better than those who had never touched it. His lifelong love of teaching deepened the connection between the game and the sport, turning a video game into an educational tool. Over the decades, the Madden NFL series sold more than 130 million copies and generated billions in revenue. Features like Madden Ultimate Team, introduced in 2009, allowed fans to create teams, strategize, and compete in entirely new ways, shaping both conversations and understanding of football. Yet, for all his professional success, Madden faced enduring health challenges. Born with hemophilia A, inherited from his grandfather, he endured bruising and joint bleeding from a young age. Over time, he required 8 surgeries, 2 knee replacements, a mitral valve heart operation at 60, and battled nerve damage in his right leg, alongside the strain his weight placed on his hardened joints. Despite these challenges, he remained dedicated to football, navigating his career without ever flying, relying on the Madden Cruiser to move coast to coast. Even as his mobility became limited, Madden stayed active. In 2006, he joined NBC's Sunday Night Football, becoming the only broadcaster to call NFL games for CBS, Fox, ABC, and NBC. Though he earned less than at previous networks, his presence mattered more than ever. Around age 70, he remained the most trusted and beloved voice in football. In April 2009, Madden surprised the world with retirement. His last broadcast was Super Bowl 43, a nail-biter decided in the final seconds. He stepped away to spend more time with his wife, Virginia, celebrating nearly 50 years of marriage and decades of sacrifice on the road. He thanked his family for their unwavering support, leaving behind a space that no one could ever truly fill. Even in retirement, Madden remained entwined with the sport. He appeared in documentaries, advised league officials, and his influence endured. In 2021, Fox released All Madden, chronicling his impact as coach, broadcaster, and gaming pioneer. His voice, his insights, and his perspective continued to reach fans, bridging generations. Then, on December 28, 2021, John Madden passed away at his home in Pleasanton, California, at age 85. The NFL described his death as unexpected, just 3 days after the All Madden documentary aired. Though his history of surgeries and heart issues was well known, the announcement still carried a shock. His place in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, into which he was inducted in 2006, was secure. Madden's coaching career remains legendary. 103 wins, 32 losses, and 7 ties in just 10 seasons, a .759 winning percentage, the highest for any modern-era coach with at least 100 games. He reached 100 wins faster than anyone before him, led the Raiders to 8 playoff appearances, and captured 1 Super Bowl in 1977. Critics may have fixated on the single title, but those who lived through it knew the toughness of that era. His teams battled Titans, Steelers, Dolphins, and more, without ever suffering a losing season. Heartbreaking playoff losses, from the Immaculate Reception in 1972 to repeated defeats against Pittsburgh and Miami, tested their resolve. Yet Madden's Raiders never backed down. As a broadcaster, Madden transformed the way fans watched football. The telestrator allowed him to teach with clarity, while his preparation mirrored the precision he once demanded of his players. He won 14 Emmy Awards, his voice and phrases like boom became part of the game's rhythm, and he pushed networks toward better camera work and replay technology. In gaming, Madden's influence was equally profound. The Madden NFL series, licensed exclusively by the NFL from 2005, educated players, fueled debates, and created cultural moments. Teams and fans alike used it to study strategies, and his presence extended even into the game itself. Across coaching, broadcasting, and gaming, John Madden left an imprint no one else has matched. 3 distinct eras, 3 different forms of influence, and 1 enduring legacy. Coaching earned him respect. Broadcasting gave him a voice. Gaming made him a cultural icon, ensuring that even those who never saw him on the sideline or behind a microphone would still know his name.